Hello, I'm Derek Smalls, and you're watching, or listening, or both, to Rock Shop Live with Eric Broadbent. He's the Bent Broad.
You're watching Rock Shop Live, brought to you by Stewart Travel Guitars. See the incredible stowaway travel guitar at stewartguitars.com. Microphones for Rock Shop Live are provided by Rode Microphones. Now, for Music Gear Network, here's your host, guitarist Eric Broadbent.
Hey everyone, happy Friday to you all, and also a happy Independence Day weekend to our viewers over in the United States. We hope everyone has a safe and really fun Independence Day weekend. We are live, and it's nice to be back again. Friday nights here, kicking it again. And tonight, actually, over the past month or so, we've been featuring some great, talented people from the Breaking Bad universe, Better Call Saul, El Camino, all of those good shows. And we're continuing that tonight as well, too, with Thomas Schnauz, who is writer, director, and producer of a combination of all of those on multiple shows. Thomas, it's nice to have you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I love the Derek Smalls opening.
There you go, good. Right? Yeah, and there's
Derek and I have something in common. We both hide large cucumbers in our pants, but I wrap mine in cellophane, not aluminum foil. That was his tragic error.
That's right. You can't go through TSA with aluminum foil in your pants.
Big mistake.
There you go. So that's something I never expected to hear from you, and I'm sure a lot of people in the Breaking Bad universe never expected that either. But hey, here we are, right? That's awesome.
We're going to get behind. We're going to get to the nitty gritty. We're going to get all the dirt out.
That's right. Well, just like you and I were talking last night, this is nothing that's on a itinerary, but there is a little bit of a connection to, in a small alternate reality, an alternate universe with Derek Smalls and Better Call Saul, because there's his colleague, his band, David St. Hubbins, the guitar player and lead singer for Spinal Tap, is also Chuck McGill.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? Small world.
That's the backstory we didn't show on Better Call Saul of Chuck's past in his band, his former life.
Wouldn't that have been funny when Jimmy and Chuck are doing the karaoke, if they're doing like Big Bottom or Small the Glove or something like that?
Why didn't we think of that?
That would have been cool. Well, if you would have known me back then, I would have suggested it, but that's okay. I'm not here to tell you how to do your job by any means.
No.
So do you prefer Thomas or Tom?
Tom is fine. I think as Jimmy McGill tells Howard Hamlin, my friends call me Tom.
And you can too.
You can call me whatever you think is right.
All right, that's cool. We'll call you Tom for the evening. So it's obviously an absolute pleasure to have you here this evening. The family here is a major fan of the entire universe, and I mean, Better Call Saul right now, especially, is just hotter than heck. I mean, it just you just can't imagine it getting better than it does, and then you guys outdo it every episode. And the cliffhanger for season 5, I mean, wow. It was amazing. We'll get into all that good stuff throughout the evening as well, too. But let's go say hi to a few people that are jumping in that are here to see you tonight.
All right, cool.
Over in the first in line here tonight, Paul Sir. And Paul, I was mentioning to you off the air, Paul is recognized by a lot of the cast and crew, and he's really got to talk to a lot of them, and he's become a regular here on the show, and he's now a Patreon member. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. The party line here, that's my beautiful Sandra Lee. She'll be sharing links to some of your properties, your Twitter, of course, the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul's social media profiles, and AMC's properties as well, too. So I'll be sharing that throughout the evening. Carlo Santin is here. Landshark Mark is here. Karina is here. Hi, Tom and everyone. Guitarman 45. And that's it at the moment. People will be jumping in more as we go along. But let's talk a little bit about how far back does your relationship go with Vince Gilligan?
I've known Vince a very long time. We met at NYU University at Tisch School of the Arts, the film program, and we both in desperate need of money just to survive there. We took jobs with the NYU Film School, and we happened to meet in the basement of 721 Broadway, where we would hand out equipment to the students for their different classes. So we worked together we didn't actually have a lot of classes together. I think we only had one class, but we worked together handing out film equipment. So I've known Vince a very long time, and that first summer after my first year there, we would not email, there was no email then. We would mail each other scripts back and forth over the summer for the films we were planning to shoot the following year. So yeah, I've known and worked with Vince a very long time. We're great friends.
Nice. Well, that's nice. And
Yeah.
you've grown a lot since those first days working with him as well too. I mean, obviously everyone in the writers' room and things like that has to kind of, prove themselves and, their assistants in some ways and, just trying to get your name out there. But then look at how you've graduated on some of these shows, what you've done. I mean, I'm directing some of the writing and directing some of the episodes, and we're going to talk about that. Just before I mention that, I'll say hi to a couple of the people that jumped in. It's so nice too. I mean, meeting you through social media has opened up a whole new world of really cool people to me as well too. A lot of people I met, some celebrities and just really cool people every day. They're jumping into my world now, which is nice. One of them right here too, Daniel Knight. Met him through you. He's one of your followers on Twitter. So thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that. Let me see here. Matthew Dean is here. Let me see. Omar, potential release date. We'll talk about that later on. I know we're way down the road on that, but we'll get to that tonight. And obviously we won't be able to commit to a date. But I had to make some notes on this one because I wouldn't be able to remember all the episode numbers. I'm pretty good at them, but especially after having a cold beer after dinner, I might be a little rusty. So approaching the final season next year with Better Call Saul, which we're all looking forward to. We're kind of bittersweet, and we'll probably be spending more time tonight on Better Call Saul other than Breaking Bad, just for the sole fact that this series is ending, and we want to focus a lot of the attention on that. We've all been through the ending of Breaking Bad multiple times. But I wanted to make note of some of the incredible Breaking Bad episodes that you either wrote, co-wrote, or also directed. So these are just a couple of ones I really like, and I know there's more. So the first episode ever as writer, if I got it correct, was Breaking Bad Season 3, Episode 7, 1 Minute.
That's right, my first episode.
Nice. Writer on Season 4, Episode 5, Shotgun. Love that one. And co-writer for the same season for episodes, so that was Episode 5, Episode 9, Bug, and Episode 12, End Times. Then we jump over to one of the most iconic episodes of the entire season. That would be Season 5, Episode 7, Say My Name. I'm wearing the Heisenberg shirt tonight in your honor.
Love it.
Now, are you told in advance? Okay, I know when you're in the writer's room, things like that, people bounce off ideas off each one. When do you know that it's going to be your episode? And I mean, that was iconic.
I think Vince was pretty good about letting us know. It was basically, he would do it in order of when a writer arrived on staff. So Peter Gould and George Mastras were always early up because they were in season 1. They were actually there to survive season 2, 3, and 4. And then Sam Catlin or Wally Beckett came in season 2, so they would be up next in line. And then I arrived in season 3, so that's why I was at episode 7 slot. That first season 3 I arrived. And then Jenny Hutchison, who was a writer's assistant on the show early on, became a full-time writer on the show. And she was the episode right after me in season 3. So we were always in sort of that order going on. And then when we got to season 5, things got a little mixed up because then a bunch of us started directing. So the order kind of got mixed up, and Vince would sort of designate who would get what. And we didn't know, when he assigned the episode order, we didn't know at all what was going to happen in each of those episodes. And like the season 3 episode that I got, 1 Minute, we had talked about this confrontation with the cousins and Hank Schrader, and that was almost in episode 3 of season 3. And it kept, because of how the plot would unfold, we kept sort of moving the idea of this confrontation further and further. And I kept getting a sense, wait a minute, this is going to land in my slot. I think I'm going to get this. And I knew Michelle MacLaren was directing it, who I love and have known since the X-Files. I would email her and say, I think we're going to get this great shootout, this great confrontation. I would get her excited about it. And I kept saying, I hope I'm not getting your hopes up too high that it's not going to land either before or after, but I really think it's going to land in 7. And I was really guessing, and it luckily enough landed right in my slot. So I was lucky enough to start my first episode with a really good one.
Yeah. And also too, I mean, you and I were talking about Dave Porter off the air. You mentioned you just saw my interview with Dave, and I mean, his music is great, but I mean, the Heisenberg theme, that percussion, Mike and Jesse and Walter going out to the desert, to meet, I think with Declan and the crew, and just, and then Walter gets out the hat, puts it on, and the music, I mean, just amazing. So, I mean, not only did you write such a masterpiece, but then Dave comes in with that score too, and is like, Tom, I'm gonna help deliver this. They're just beautiful.
Oh my God! I mean, so much of the credit of both Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, because we've carried over a lot of the same people from Breaking Bad, and Vince's people that he hired and got together, and Dave Porter being a key member of this team to really make the show what it is. Yeah, I mean, thank goodness we have Dave Porter.
He's great. He certainly is. And what a nice guy to work with as well, too. And he was telling me, like, it doesn't always happen with a lot of showrunners and the people who do the musical scores, and in a lot of cases where they're together. But he was saying in the early onset, especially way back before a pandemic and things like that, but way back even in the Breaking Bad days, you know, he would meet with Vince, and I'm not sure if maybe yourself and Peter, I don't know who was all involved, but a lot of times you guys were a lot in the room together as some of this composition was taking place. Did you ever go out there?
I've never actually been with him while writing. He's been writing a score, but we meet and we watch the episode together in a spotting session where we gather our sound department, and Dave and Thomas Guljevich does our, find songs for us and music. So we'll meet together and watch the show together, and we'll ask Dave, what do you think? do you see music here or not? I mean, a lot of it, and he'll ask us our opinions, and we'll go back and forth. And so, yeah, I mean, we usually, this is another great thing that Vince did that we've carried over, is we love our music. We love Dave's music, but it's used as compared to other shows sparingly.
Yes.
So a lot of places where a network show would normally put a score and want to help tell the audience what to feel, will pull back and just let the scene, sound effects, the actors do their thing. But other moments, Dave will find really key things and be able to place it in. And that's why the music works even more, because we don't do wall-to-wall sound.
Yeah.
We use it sparingly. I mean, some episodes, I think we've had episodes where there's only been like a very short cue from Dave. Other ones, like my final episode of Better Call Saul, we had one of Dave's longer pieces for that when Lalo confronts Jimmy and Kim in Kim's condo.
Mm-hmm.
That was one. I feel like that's a 10-minute piece of music right there. Some very long piece, which is unusual for Dave, and it works like gangbusters.
I'm gonna go back and rewatch that episode. I watched a little bit of it today, but I had it on the TV behind me when I was working. I had no sound on. I was just kind of looking back at the TV. I'm gonna go back and watch that again, because I never envisioned it at that time. I never really caught how long that musical piece was. So I want to go watch that back later tonight and rediscover that. But
yeah, it's one of our. It's a longer episodes. We took AMC allows us some flexibility, thank goodness, and that one really pushed us. We're allowed without commercials, we're allowed an hour max, and that one was like 7 seconds under an hour or something. So we really pushed it. And that final act of that episode is one long 14-minute piece. So there's other smaller acts before it, but then we really wanted that chunk to play through from the moment Kim arrives home at her condo to when Lalo and Nacho drive off at the end.
It's fantastic. I'll go back and watch that tonight. So, I mean, these are obviously very, very proud accomplishments for you so far up to this point. What we're talking about now, they must be real nice little things you can look back and say, I'm really happy I got to do that.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, if you had asked me as a kid, told me that I would be doing this is, I mean, it's a dream. It's the best job ever. Yeah. I don't want to hear anybody ever complain about being a writer on a television show.
What, as a young little boy, what were you thinking to be? Were you going to be like a fireman, an astronaut? What would you want to be?
The first thing I remember telling people was I wanted to be a paleontologist.
Oh, that's
really
cool.
Into dinosaurs.
Cool.
So paleontology was my thing, and then I got into drawing comic books. I was a big comic book fan. I would draw my own comic books. I think that's my writing. If you have you ever seen my cards?
Yes.
That I do for the boards, my writing is very close to what you'd see in a comic book, because I would buy ink pens and try to copy the way they do the style in the comic book writing. So, it's try to be very precise when we do these cards.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. Now, I would have never known that until you told me tonight. But I saw some of the storyboards you do. Not only are you putting the notes, like Kim looks through the cup and notes to the bullet hole, blah, blah, blah. You put those as a note. But when you draw the figures, I'm not an artist. I like to draw, but I'm not an artist. I don't know the technical terms for this. But when you draw a face, how the artist they'll kind of do a little bit of a centerline sketch to get the nose and the eyes. I've even noticed you doing that. So that's some formal,
These are like done in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I could do better.
Yeah.
If you've seen Breaking Bad, there's a drawing of Walt Whitman in Gail's notebook. I did that.
No.
That was one of my drawings. So I could do a little bit better than what you've seen online as far as storyboards. So I don't want you to judge my art based on those online. Those are just for the interest of people seeing how to prepare to direct, of just getting the frames down and figuring out angles.
Yeah.
Before you get to set.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. I mean, it's not like you're going to sit there and go through different shading and then send it off to the coloring department. No, that's cool.
No, it's down. It's quick and dirty. It's just to help the DP and my assistant director just get an idea of what is needed for that day, so they can look at the shots and say, okay, this is doable or this is not doable. Let's cut this down, or we could, or let's try to come. That was something I learned from Michael Slovis too. I had these storyboards, and he was like, well, you can connect these two. We can move from here to here. And he was a great teacher and a great person to work with on Breaking Bad.
I guess so. And one of the things we'll bring up later in the evening as well too. I'm a photographer myself and a videographer. And when you've been sharing a lot of these behind the scenes things that we'll talk about, I had a little folder on my computer. I save them for all the photography stuff. I'll look for shutter speed, ISO, temperature. I'm just geeking out over those things. And most people are like, I just want to see Kim. I want to see Jimmy. I want to see, blah, blah. I just want to see the cameras. But here's a good question. It was sent to me through Sandra. This is Arabella. Arabella follows me on Twitter as well through the Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad universe. Says, hi, Tom. How did you come up with the idea of Kim proposing to Jimmy after that super intense scene where they seemed to actually break up? And that was insane.
Thank you. That's a great question. It's a great moment to bring up that, it wasn't me alone who thought of that moment. It isn't an episode I wrote, but we worked together as a team of writers, everyone pitching out ideas. And I couldn't tell you who came up with that moment right now, because we have what has been described as a hive mind, where everyone puts in ideas and it's very hard to remember who said what in the final product. So we've got all these ideas floating around. We write them on index cards. We put them on a cork board. And that was something we felt for a very long time. Peter Gould, our executive producer, loved the idea that they get an office together for love and get married for business, for legal reasons, to keep her safe from the courts in case Jimmy had to testify, or she was called to testify. So there was a lot of that's been cooking for a long time, that idea of them getting married to keep her protected. But really deep down, we can tell when they do get married and they look at each other, there is love there. So that's something we really enjoyed doing this season.
That's fantastic. And that goes into another perfect question from same person again too, Arabella. And I didn't realize this was never said, so it's a fault on my part for not knowing this. But Arabella says, is there a specific reason why Kim and Jimmy have never said "I love you" to each other?
It's been pitched, mm-hmm. and I feel like it actually made it onto a card once in one of the episodes, and we backed off from it. And I don't have a good reason why we haven't said it, but it just felt right that it was never said, and it's been shown through actions. And if it is said, it will have that much more power to it, I feel like. So I don't know if it ever will be said in the series Better Call Saul, but we'll see.
I mean, I have no predictions myself. I watch a lot of good theories on. Well, actually, I shouldn't say I don't have predictions. I have a couple thoughts how the show could go, how it could end. But I could see, like you say, if it's never been done, if it's never been said in a series finale, if it goes into a really dramatic moment, if there's the "I love you" comes out, that could be very powerful, right? Mm-hmm. Very powerful. I mean, it could be the one and only time it comes out, and it could come out at a bad time. Who knows? If it's going to happen, maybe this season.
If Kim makes it that far, we'll yet to be seen.
And that's no hints. That's no hints.
Right? No. I don't even know myself. We're working on season 6 right now through Zoom. So we're a couple episodes. We've broken a couple episodes fully. We're writing outlines. Actually, I'm going to get started writing, co-writing episode 2. So we're working.
Nice.
It's just a matter of still yet to be seen when our crew will be up and running. With the current conditions, we can't go forward unless everyone is safe.
That's right. Agreed 100%. Yeah.
That's where we are.
For sure. And we'll talk about the writer's room, the virtual writer's room in a little bit as well, too. There's another comment from Karen, says, your episodes have really stood out on both shows.
Thank you very much. It's very nice.
Awesome.
And again, a lot of that is just really luck of the draw for me. I mean, I'm glad my my writing is coming through, but again, it's like the writers will randomly get assigned. We don't know what's going to be in our episodes up until that point. And we all work very hard. I mean, the theory going in is that any one of the writers in the writer's room, because we're all working together, should be able to write the episode. But thank you for I mean, every one of us, we all work very hard trying to get these right. And Peter Gould is our, steers this ship. And he's the one who's saying, I like this, let's go this direction, not this direction. So he's really, really sharp about what feels new, what feels fun, what feels dangerous. He guides us that way. We're pitching ideas all the time, and he's trying to. It's a maze because we can go off a dozen, 100 different directions, and at any time, and he's finding his way through this maze the best way that he can. So I really give him a majority of the credit.
To be a fly on the wall in these writers' rooms, I mean, with just the ideas, and I imagine there's probably some amazing ideas. There's probably some ideas I've probably never seen the light of day, and anywhere in between. But just to see that and the things that us as the fans would never know ever happened. But it's really funny when both Ray and Patrick Fabian were on the show over the course of the last month or two. It's funny they each said the same thing. They would get the next script. And they would start texting each other, haha, I'm still alive. That's got to be funny. They made it through one more day.
We discard a ton of ideas. I mean, we really try to stay true to the characters. One of the great compliments we ever got as writers was we had our Breaking Bad producer, Stu Lyons, came and sat in our writer's room and just watched us at work. And at one point, he just looked at us and said, "You guys throw out more good ideas that would be on other shows than." So it's like we're not afraid to kill our darlings. If something is good, you can't just stick with it. This is a writer's tip, people. If you're in love with something but it's not fitting into your puzzle, you got to jettison it and just let it go. As much as you might love it, trying to force something in is not good for your story.
Agreed. And I mean, and you don't also go the opposite way too, and just sacrifice something for fan service and the wow factor and for a finale.
Yeah, we love putting in our Breaking Bad characters, and we loved having Dean Norris back, and thankfully it worked in a way that was organic with the story. Because we'd love to have everyone back, but if it's not going to fit with the story, we're not going to have somebody pop in and just go, "Hey."
Yeah, exactly.
Just for fan service.
Photobombing in the background.
Story, we're going to do it.
Agreed, 100%. There's another. I'm going to see if I'm pronouncing this right. Papicasso, who's one of your former editors, Sheridan.
Oh, yeah. Sheridan, yeah.
Yeah, nice to have you here. That's great.
Sheridan edited a wonderful montage in my the first episode I ever directed. Say my name. There's a meth cooking montage, and I love the Monkees. I've loved the Monkees since I was a kid, and I wanted the song Going Down in it. She took the song and edited this. She did such a wonderful job.
Fantastic.
So, hi, Sheridan.
Nice. Well, thank you for watching this evening as well, too. And it's so funny. I talked about these celebrities that just come into my world now, which is great. Mickey Dolenz out of the Clear Blue the other day follows me thanks to you. So thank you for that.
I love Mickey's. He's the best.
Yeah.
I could, again, a Monkees fan since a young boy. The guy ends up going to my wedding. I can't, it's just, it's just insane what happens through Twitter.
Yeah. Now, this is going to sound really crazy. Here again, nothing on the itinerary. And if this is one of those urban legends, then shoot me now. But didn't Mickey Dolenz's mom have something to do with the invention of liquid paper?
That was Mike Nesmith's mother.
Oh, okay. All right.
Who did have something. Yeah, she invented it.
Isn't that crazy? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's somewhat close.
She made a lot of money with liquid paper. Yeah, Mike Nesmith has a great book called, I think it's called Infinite Tuesday. It's a really good autobiography. I recommend it highly. Okay, great. I'm getting so many great comments here coming through the chat. This is absolutely fantastic. You guys and girls over in the chat are just amazing. Obviously, having a great guest, brings out great questions. So Paul Suris says, could you expand more, please, on the actual work for the upcoming season has changed to the current situation? Okay, so yeah, we're doing virtual writers' rooms. Has there been any obstacles to overcome other than the fact I know you can't just all talk at once? That's got to be stumbling blocks. Yeah. Here's a sample of what the writers' room is like right That's what you'd look at all day, me drinking tea, if you were in the virtual writers room with me. Yeah, it's just a different animal right now. It's just when you're in a room together with people, there's a shorthand. You pick up on signals easier of when to talk and when not to talk. We've resorted to, when you want to contribute something or have an idea, you sit here like this with your hand raised, and then wait for Peter to say, "Okay, Tom," and then you pitch. So it's just different. It's slower. It's more awkward, but we're getting through the best. But we still use the same tools. We got index cards, we got Sharpies, we write down our ideas, and we put them on a corkboard. So it's a lot of it's the same, but the interaction with the other writers is a little different. So it is but thank goodness this technology exists, because I'd be sitting at home twiddling my thumbs, wondering what the hell should I do. And thankfully, I get to keep working with this group of people, and we get to keep breaking our stories and getting prepared in the hopes that we're going to meet our production schedule. As long as that, again, I don't know. I'm fingers crossed that somehow, some way, we'll be able to get production rolling after the summer, and whenever, October or whatever. I forget what we're scheduled for, but we're going to really try to hit that date, and hopefully with rules and with masks and other things that we'll be able to pull this off. Otherwise, we'll just have to wait until there's a vaccine or something.
Agreed for sure. When you guys first got into the Zoom meetings, or whatever, did you have to go through that awkward moment, like everybody mute, and so put your pants on,
So far, no nudity.
Okay, that's good.
In the Better Call Saul writers room, but we do have a lot of that. I'm often guilty of this, where I'll be talking and somebody will say, "Tom, you're on mute. You're on mute." And I'll just have to talk for 5 minutes and nobody heard anything I said.
Yeah, the whole
and
pitch.
Then the technology, there's delays, there's internet. Somebody will freeze, and it's just different things keep making this a nightmare.
That's right. Well, I mean, unfortunately, we all are able to stay connected with our families and our workers, and and things like that. So there are some silver linings to these dark clouds. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. There's another good question that's coming in, and I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but I know it's episode 305. Chicanery, is that right?
Chicanery, yep.
Okay.
Gordon Smith's episode, right?
Yeah. So the question is, let me find that one again too. This is from Ash. He says, "Hey Tom, Chicanery was the greatest episode of TV ever. Michael McKean needs to be in a flashback in season 6." And I think that would be great. I think it'd be great to see Chuck again, and see. I think that could also paint that picture how Jimmy has really, really changed. And I watched the episode again today, so that's a very, very good point, Ash. Thank you for bringing that up. Going back, and this is the reason why I'm going to bring up this episode, was when Ray was on the show, she was talking about pocket dialogue. And I didn't know what that term was. So a lot of times you guys and girls you're recording these scenes where there's no dialogue that we hear. So Jimmy, who just got he passed the bar exam, he's hoping to get, hired by HHM. They're all having a cake, whatever, in the mailroom. And, Howard comes in and asks everyone to please leave. You don't hear anything other than a copier, which was great. So that was the point I'm talking about there, was the fact that the dialogue, it doesn't have to be heard, right?
Right.
And there's other episodes.
But it still has to exist.
Yeah, it still has to exist. And so
some actors feel comfortable just riffing, and some want dialogue. Yeah, I did, in my last episode, there's a scene where Kim goes in and basically quits her job. Spoiler alert, sorry if anybody's watching. She goes in, and it's seen only through a window. But I wrote up a page of back and forth between her and Dennis Boutsikaris, who plays Schweikert.
Yeah.
Rich Schweikert.
Yep.
Too many characters to keep track of.
Oh, I can imagine.
But Rich Schweikert, she goes in and quits, and so there was a scene written, but never meant to be heard on camera.
Right.
But it was recorded, and it was one of those things, we'll record it just in case we're in the editing room and think, oh my God, we should hear what's being said. Oh, we screwed ourselves. Although we could always dub it in later. But we have Phil Palmer, one of the great sound recordists. He's so good. He'll get everything for us.
Yeah. Well, that's what Ray said. She said in her career of working and everything she's done, working with this show has been the least she's ever had to do an ADR or had the ADR team do post dubbing and stuff like that. So that's a compliment to the team as well.
We have such a great sound team. They're magicians. I'm really constantly stunned. Sometimes even when we don't get the best on-set recording, they're able to dig it out in post and really sharpen it and do amazing things. And when we do ADR, it's a lot of the times it's seamless.
Yeah.
So you just don't even notice it. It's really great.
Good. Daniel over in the chat says, as a writer, it must be extremely hard to let go of an idea that you've developed. And sometimes, right, you have this thing that you're so passionate about and it doesn't come to see the light of day.
Yeah, no, it's, but that's one of the biggest lessons I've had as a writer is, just, you got to let things go. If it's not working, or put it in a file somewhere in your mind and save it for another story somewhere down the line. Maybe it'll work out. And we have all these we have all these things written down, and sometimes you pitch something that just comes back later, another season, it gets done. I wish I had an example off the top of my head, but
that's fine.
I don't right now. But yeah, it's just you gotta let your ego go. It's not a competition. It's you pitch an idea, somebody has another idea. It's not that one's better than the other. It just fits in with the narrative better, or it feels more surprising. It's not unexpected. Because sometimes you'll pitch something that sounds great, and then you realize, well, it's probably been done 100 times, 1 million times in other films and TV shows, and that's just the nature of how it works.
I hear you.
And it's not a big. Again, it doesn't. I'm at the point. I've been doing this so long that it really, don't use any of my ideas. It's as long as the final product comes out, I'm good.
Well, I imagine it is hard, it's like trying to think, okay, has this been done before? Has this been done before? Even when I do videos for my musical product things, I go out there and it's like, I come up with a great one. Someone's already done it. And you're like, oh man. But did you ever see I'm not sure if you watched South Park. I'm sure you watched The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah. Simpsons already did it.
Yeah, The Simpsons already did it, right? They did a whole episode and The Simpsons already did it. And like, superhero guys, Simpsons did it.
No, it's difficult. And and we try to pay homage. We do things that have been done before. I was just talking to somebody the other day about there's a line of dialogue in my last episode where Mike gives Jimmy this whole thing about the road you're on and bad choices. And at the end, Jimmy says, "I can't believe I don't have anybody else to talk to about this."
Other than you.
I'm not putting down I'm not picking up what you're putting down, which is, I was very inspired by the scene in Taxi Driver where Peter Boyle, as the character the Wizard, is trying to teach Travis Bickle about life and explain, some people die, some people live, some people are born, whatever. He's got this whole spiel, and at the end, De Niro just says, "That's just about the dumbest thing I've ever heard." So, my moment in Better Call Saul has been done before, but we just find a different way to do it. It was inspired by that moment.
I watched that episode today, and I felt like Jimmy just seemed like a little boy getting out of that car, like, I can't believe the only person in the world I can talk to about this is you, and then he gets out of the car and you just see the life just expel out of him.
Oh, and Bob Odenkirk. I can't say enough about him and Ray Seahorn, our whole cast, top to bottom. These guys are, they do their homework. They bring it. They really find things in the writing that wasn't intended. They make us look really good.
Yeah.
So they if something doesn't feel right to them, they challenge it. They question, is this the way to do it? You better have a damn good argument going on set of why things are the way they are. Because if something doesn't feel right, you have to either explain why it feels right or be ready to change it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I've noticed too, a lot of the cast and crew, especially the cast, I'm sure everyone's a fan of the show, of course, but the cast are so invested that even when they're not even in a scene together, I know Patrick has taken multiple photos of you on set when he's not, Howard's not in any scene. I think he even did some desert shots he got a stray dog from the desert too, right?
He did, yeah. I can't get rid of that guy. He's always hanging around.
Lucky? Is that what they called him? I think.
His dog, yeah. I forget the name of the dog, but I think a couple of people. I think Bob adopted a dog too from the desert.
Nice.
From the desert, Tahajali. Yeah, a lot of stray dogs, a lot of dogs in need of help.
Yeah, that's good. That's nice. But it just goes to show you how, I mean, that's a very kind thing as well, but how invested they are in the show. I mean, even if when their characters get taken out, I'm sure, Michael McKean, I'm sure he's still just as much a fan of the show as when he was, showing up to work every day. It's just invested in their craft and their what they desire as, entertainment. Another good question, if I'm going to say this correctly, Super Nico, I apologize if I said it wrong. Can you ask if they plan out the series arc from the pilot, or is it more loose and they just know where they want the series finale finale to end up?
No, we are running by the seat of our pants here. We don't know. We don't know where things are going to end up. We really go episode by episode. We can't. It's impossible to plan that far ahead. I mean, like just Breaking Bad, for an example, we had theories of Jesse moving up and becoming this. Basically, season 5, he was going to become like a drug kingpin. He was going to move up, up, up. But then we had the train episode, and the idea came up that the little boy on the motorcycle gets shot. That going forward was like, well, Jesse is going to completely go the other direction. He's going to want out. Mm-hmm. So we just had to follow that feeling and just jettison this thought about Jesse ascending in the ranks of the drug world. So that's, I mean, it's just, so we look ahead, we have ideas for what's ahead, but we're not tied to it. We need to go left, we go left. We need to go right. If we go still going towards that same target and it's working, great, but we don't stick to any, there's no concrete path.
Right.
So we're loose.
Man, imagine that. Imagine that alternate universe where Jesse is now the kingpin. That's something. But I feel in my gut, and I think the fans will also feel. I'm sure there's some people that will really, stand behind Jesse to be that guy. But I think you guys made the right choice. It feels right.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just different worlds. I mean, it's just different universes, things that could have happened, and maybe the show would have been as good or as celebrated if we had gone another direction. But it just, I mean, we just stick with the idea that we, the writers, are the first audience. And if we get a kick out of what we're watching, we hope we're not trying to service the fans out there. We're not thinking, oh, what will make millions of people happy? It's like the 7 or 8 of us, however many in the writer's room that year, what do we all like? Are we all on board? Is this blowing air up our skirts or whatever, whatever metaphor you want to use?
Yeah.
If we feel good, we move forward. If somebody's stuck, we will talk it out and figure out, why are you having a problem with this? How do we fix this to make it everyone happy? And then we go forward.
That's right.
So that's why we take compared to other writers' rooms, we take a very long time. Again, because we're trying to make everybody in the writers' room happy. Whereas some other writers' room is just, you have a showrunner will say, this is the way it's going to be, and this is the way we're going, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's a different business model. We just AMC allows us the luxury of spending more time breaking the stories.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk some music in a little bit as well. Some what you do for passion and a hobby as well too. But there's no difference from a true, a professional musician. Of course they want the fans to like the music and buy the music. But their first onset is not to unless you're selling out, of course. When you go to retire, okay, let's put out one more record. It's going to be on all the top FM stations, if FM is still a thing anymore. But you write for yourself. You write, and of course you're talking about the writer. So we as a group like what we've got. Now let's put it out there, and fingers crossed they like it. If they don't, well, we do, and that's what it's meant for. And the grand scheme of things, everyone loves it, which is great. So it's a very similar process.
You just got to try to make yourself happy. And the group, the team you're working with, try to make them happy, and hopefully that carries over to the audience, the fans of the show, that they're as happy as well. You can't make everybody happy, so people are going to hate. I mean, there are Breaking Bad fans who hate Better Call Saul. There are Better Call Saul fans who now think the show is better than Breaking Bad. It's just like, who can tell? There's just too many different opinions to make everybody happy, and it'd be foolish to try.
Yep.
So that's why we just make yourself happy. If you're an artist, painter, do music, whatever it is that you're doing, sculptor, make yourself happy, present it to the world. if they don't like it, then too bad. If you're happy,
That's right.
maybe they'll catch on in 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll look back at it and say, you know what, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that happens. That happens. And it's funny that you mentioned earlier, just a few minutes ago, when you said that a lot of times going in, this was asked from the question about, going from the pilot and how you go forward. In season 5 of Breaking Bad, the very first episode, which is kind of a personal one to me because Walt was turning 52. I turned 52 this year. And so he's in there, and and it was really smart what you guys did as well too, to make him look sick and a thinner, to dress him in oversized clothes. Obviously, probably put on a bigger ring so it would slip off and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very smart to make him look thinner. But what my point is of that episode is, he pops open the trunk, he's got that AR whatever machine gun in there, and from what I saw in different interviews with Peter and yourself and other people as well too, you guys didn't have any idea where that was going to end up, and little did we know how iconic that gun would become.
Yeah, I mean, we were partly fearless, partly a bunch of idiots for doing. I mean, it's like we put this thing out there with no. I mean, we had ideas, but the ideas we had, I don't think ever were the final idea.
Right.
There were ideas that Walt was going to show up and break Jesse out of prison with his gun. I mean, so many different ideas, but we just kind of put it in there and decided to move forward. Then we doubled down and put Ryson hidden in his house at the beginning of season 5B, which is season 6 or whatever we want to call it. He goes into his house with a Heisenberg spray painted on the wall and retrieves a vial of Ryson, again, not knowing what we were going to do with it. We sort of had an idea that probably Lydia deserved.
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize to people who have not watched the series. There's a lot of spoilers here, but it's too late now. It's been too many years.
Okay. It's been a lot of years. I think the rule's over now.
So yeah, I don't recommend doing what we did, but it's certainly a way to, paint yourself into a corner. I mean, one of the great lessons for me was in season 3, my first season at Breaking Bad. We had Walt and Jesse trapped in an RV with Hank outside.
Yeah.
And we had no idea, zero idea how they were going to get out of it. We spent days pitching different ideas. How are they going to get out of it? I mean, hours of silence of all of us just sitting there like, what do we do? Do we go back and change this? Do we do it? And finally, it was Peter Gould who came up with the solution of they call Hank's wife Marie and say there's a horrible, they call from a hospital saying that Hank's wife Marie was in a terrible accident. It was like, what would get him away? Because we had them digging out through the bottom of the RV and into a drain pipe tunnel, and somehow going out the back, or having old Joe create a distraction. All these ideas that luckily we jettisoned until we finally came up with and it seems so obvious now. Just It's so funny how so many of these ideas they seem obvious, but at the time we were there and you're painted into a corner. You get all these minds working of coming up. What's the solution? And we try to do that a lot. It hasn't happened as much on Better Call Saul. We haven't done the gun in the trunk or anything like that, but we have the gene world, and we don't know what's going to happen there. So that's a little bit of our, how does this connect? I mean, the whole series, honestly, I'm saying we haven't done it. The whole series is us painted into a corner of how do we get Jimmy McGill to Saul Goodman.
Yeah.
So it is, I'm saying we haven't done it, but actually this whole series is that.
I get
how
it.
do we get from point A to point B?
Well, Peter's choice in that was great, because what's going to make a person like Hank is as dedicated to his job as anybody could ever be, and what's going to make him get away from that scene is a dear family member being near death, possibly. So, forget about the warrant. He's out of there. That was great. But here's a whole bunch.
He wanted nothing more than to catch Heisenberg. He's been so close. Finally, he has them in there, and he's got to go. Yeah,
that must have been horrible for him at the moment, but at the same time, he forgot about it. A bunch of really good comments coming through. Daniel Knight says, Tom, I told Patrick Fabian one time that one of his suits is going to end up in the Smithsonian. I wouldn't doubt that. Kyle, question for Thomas. If you had to spin off, this is a good one. If you had to spin off one Better Call Saul character into their own series, who would it be? I think that's an easy one, maybe, but I'd like to hear your thoughts.
I don't know. I don't. Is it an easy one? I love writing for Kim. Kim's great. There's the Mike Ehrmantraut show. I mean, we're already doing that, I guess. But there's so many good characters. I don't know. I don't want to say. I'm afraid to say anything.
No, that's okay.
That there's a Better Call Saul spinoff coming.
That's right. Right. You don't want to take it the wrong way. I myself would have went with Kim right away as well too, because her character has just escalated to status beyond, and even Bob and people like the other cast members as well too said season 5 is kind of the season of Kim.
Yeah, and we honestly, when we started this series, we weren't really sure how important the character of Kim Wexler was going to be. But as we went on and watched the chemistry between Ray and Bob, it just, it was like, how can we not? It was sort of the same magic that Vince and the Breaking Bad writers experienced with Aaron Paul.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't intend for him to have as large of a mark in the series from the beginning, but it soon became obvious that there was like, this is the Laurel and Hardy, this is R2D2 and C3PO.
Yep.
You want to keep these two together.
That's right.
Continue. Because they really, instead of just being the Walter White show, Jesse Pinkman rose up and how important he was in the overall universe. Agreed
for sure. More great questions coming through. Dwayne asks, this is a good one as well too. Do you have anything lined up, and you may or may not be able to answer this, but do you have anything lined up after, as a writer, after Saul wraps up?
I've got zero going on. I have ideas that I'd love to pitch people, but nothing. No, my focus right now is to finish Better Call Saul, and as we get closer to the end, I got to hustle and get another job going. The best of all possible worlds, I'd be able to stick with the group I'm with and work with Peter and Vince and all the other writers on something else. But it's very hard to keep. It's amazing that we were able to keep a lot of the gang together for Better Call Saul, that we did, and it's been really just such a rewarding experience. I'm glad I made the choice and said yes when they asked me to join.
For sure. Well, the good thing is there, obviously everyone's, happy and grateful for job security. You've had some job security for quite some time now. And the fact that the fandom around this whole universe, I always say the Breaking Bad universe, because it's kind of what it is. It's all inside this universe. The fandom is so big that and I'm sure AMC knows, and all the writers and the showrunners know that there will be desire for spinoff shows, so that's got some good, it's not like you can start, waiting for those checks to come in, but there's a good chance of it. So that we'll keep our fingers crossed as well too, as fans, and also for all you fine men and women doing the jobs that you do every day as well too. So let's keep our fingers crossed on that. Now I'm going to pronounce this name wrong for sure. I'm going to say Fedest. I think that's the name. What's your estimation of season 6? So obviously we know the pandemic and things of that nature, but let's just say on a grand scale of things go somewhat well. What would you anticipate? And no one's going to hold you to this, but a rough idea
of when it would air, or when it would start?
Probably when it would air.
Oh, I think we were shooting for sometime in 2021, but
probably late. Late, probably.
Yeah, probably late.
Yeah,
2021, but who knows? I just don't know.
Yeah,
and we're doing 13 episodes, so that also complicates things because Peter loves to be there for all of the post-production. So post-production will almost always wait until the end of shooting. So now we have a longer shooting schedule. So everything gets pushed with the addition of 3 extra episodes.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know as well too. And I am looking forward to the extra 3 episodes, which is great. It'd be nice. Daniel Time, do you and Patrick Fabian, back in the day, Michael McKean, ever jam while you're together in Albuquerque? Because that is a great question.
I wish I had the guts to go up to, again, we work together, and it's like Michael McKean. I've been watching this guy since he was Lenny on Laverne and Shirley.
That's right.
He's in Spinal Tap. He's and so to this day, I still get nervous. It's weird. Bob Odenkirk, the nicest guy. We have conversations, but still, I look at him and I see Mr. Show and all the things he's worked on. It's like the fan in me has trouble asking for certain things, and like asking Michael McKean to jam. I probably should have done it, but I didn't.
It's okay. I get it. I mean, I play guitar, and I've retired from, well, at least performing out professionally. But I've had the opportunity sometimes, and I've chickened out. It's just like and you kick yourself in the butt after. But you have the fact that you're working with them on an everyday basis, and then you're kind of friends off screen with them. That's enough. It's just enough to have that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've always been a very solitary, shy person, so I don't actually haven't jammed that much with people. It's just me. I have a friend, Tim Talbot, who he's a great writer. He's a drummer, and I've only gotten together with him once to jam, and it was great. I wish I had gone. Before this damn pandemic, I wish I'd gotten out more and got over to his place and fooled around, because he's a great drummer and it was fun. And I was like, why don't we do this more? So it's it's a lot of people. It's my own fault. Rather stay home and play with the kids and do the dad things. But sometimes I need to get out and do something for me, and it's a little more fun.
No, I get that. There's a couple other good questions coming up in a second, but before we hop off this question, I mean, at least you weren't too shy to do this, and a lot of people don't know this, and this is one thing I was excited to talk to you about as well, too. The fact that, people watching the screen behind me can see a bunch of Line 6 products. I work with Line 6 and doing promos and things like that with them, and a show themed around them. I don't work for them. I just do videos and stuff. And you at the office, at the Better Call Saul office, have a Pod XT. And for people who don't know what that is, it's kind of a modeling device that make your guitar sound like any amplifier and effects pedals and things out there of that nature. But you, not only do you have a cool rig at the office, there's a couple scenes where we get to see Bob playing Smoke on the Water, where Bob acquires this really nice Stratocaster after shooting some ads at the music store. I guess they liked it so much, they paid him, and then they also gave him the guitar, whatever it was. Richie Blackmore signed on it. And he has to play Smoke on the Water. And so Bob has never played guitar before, correct?
No, I think he's fooled around. He's played on Mr. Show and things. He knows some music, but I did show him
Smoke on the Water.
My version of what I thought Smoke on the Water should sound like. So I did show him a very simple, 5th fret, fifth and fourth string, start there and move up to to those notes.
That's pretty cool. And Kim comes in the apartment, Jimmy's laying on his back, and he's playing whatever. And I forget what she says exactly to him. Does that make you play better? Or I forget her line, but it was really funny. Yeah.
Oh, when his back was hurting, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
He did the slip and fall, and his back was aching. So.
That's right. That's what it was. Yeah. We're getting close to the top of the hour, so a couple other good questions. This one is again from Super Nineco, if I'm getting it correct. Do you guys do a lot of research? The details of life logistics seem so well thought out. Like, did all the writers collectively learn about working of a drug cartel before the writing began? Like, a lot of times there's consultants, right? But where does the research go into it?
But we'll read some books, do some online. A lot of our legal advice is done through. We'll have a lawyer come in, or whatever we're researching. We'll try to get into a conference call with somebody who knows a lot more than we do. So yeah, none of us come from the world. Our closest thing to a lawyer on the show is Gordon Smith, whose sister is a lawyer. So we got a lot of information filtered in through Gordon's sister to help us.
Well, that's fantastic to know as well too. And coming, there's another good question as well too. Blazy Gardner. She was on the show when I had Ray on the show. She had a good question for Kim, or for Ray, but Kim's character.
Jack. Okay, my son has burst into the.
That's okay. That's okay. We're a family show here.
Come here. Well, we're gonna do an interview.
Baby Einstein.
Hello again.
This is Jack.
Oh, okay.
Baby Einstein's over. Oh boy.
What are you gonna watch next? He
has guitars.
He has lots of guitars. Yeah, look at those guitars.
You see them? There's a few.
Look at all of them.
Okay, go to mommy.
And I think that's Patrick Fabian on the TV back there. I can't see very well. Blazy Gardner has a question. She says, were the similarities between the Mesa Verde model scene in 403 something beautiful, and the PD overflow room scene in 510 something unforgivable, intentional? Were they? I'll read that again. Were the similarities between the model scenes, were they intentional?
Model scenes. I'm forgetting the other model scene.
Okay, so with similarities between Mesa Verde model scene and 403, Something Beautiful was a title of that one, and the PD Overflow Room in 510, Something Unforgivable. So apparently they were similar, but wondering if they're intentional or maybe that's a tough one.
Oh, well, no, I don't. Well, I mean, in the 510, there's the PD Overflow is a basement room. There's no models in there. So I guess I'm confused by the question. There was nothing intentional done between those two episodes. Not that I know of.
Okay.
Maybe Peter directed it. Maybe he intended something intentional, but I wasn't aware of it.
Okay. I'm trying to get Peter on the show as well too. So if I get the opportunity, I'll ask him that same question as well. So,
yes.
So Blazy Gardner, if you come back, if we get Peter on the show, we'll work hard on that. Maybe you can put a bug in his ear for us as well too. You can ask that same question. I really wish I could pronounce his name better. Fedais. I'm so bad with names. I can't say Bob Jones correctly. But anyways, it says Bad Choice Road is listed as the best episode of Better Call Saul. Do you agree? And congratulations.
I cannot say that's my own episode. I can't say.
Yeah, it's a little biased, right?
Episode.
And Daniel Knight says you're a great dad, Tom.
So I'm very, very proud of that episode.
Awesome. With the season coming up, 13 episodes. When those 13 are done, they're done. Do you feel like, can you anticipate some real sadness coming over you and the team there when it's all done?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was.
That's okay. No worries. No worries at all.
I cried when the Breaking Bad ended. It's you spend so much time with these shows and these characters. He's got his ukulele.
Nice. Look at that.
Got a broken string. Yeah, it's hard to break away and put an end to the show. And I know I'm going to be just as sad even sadder when Saul ends, because I've spent 10 years of my life
with Bob
or more. I joined the show in 2010 or not 2009. So it's going to be 11, 12 years of my life with a lot of these, Peter and Vince and all these people, and moving on is going to be devastating. And putting a the end, whatever episode 613 is at the end, I know I'm going to be sobbing again.
Yeah.
It's going to be it's just like it's like somebody dying in a way. It's like you're letting this go, and it exists in this form over there. You can look at, but it's not going to continue. So yeah, I'm already getting misty-eyed thinking.
I know.
What are you doing to me? Don't make me sad.
No, I won't. We'll take it to a happier note here in a second. And that's the thing too. Us fans, we get upset with it when it's over and we're sad we're missing something. I remember when the first reality TV really started to, I don't know if it was Survivor or what, some of those shows that were just, we spend so much of our time watching these people. I never really watched the show for the most part, but those kind of shows where people get addicted, and then when they're over, it's just like, what do I do? Some people need counseling. You know what I mean? I think we need Marie's Dave. Everyone needs a Dave to go see for some counseling. After it's over, right? But
that's right.
Here's another good question, and we're getting ready to wrap up in just a moment. And we had some stellar questions on the itinerary tonight, and we elected to pull some back for our great questions in the chat. So thank you guys and girls for the questions in the chat. They're phenomenal. Really, really cool. Paul says, ask if there's any truth to the story that the reason Walt left the watch he was given from Jesse on the payphone was merely continuity, because he wasn't, or I'm not sure what the word is here, because he wasn't wearing it when the flash forward was filmed. So did he leave the watch on the payphone for any reason?
Boy, you caught us there. That was a continuity thing that Brian wasn't wearing the watch in a later scene. When did he lose the watch? And Vince had a good reason for him to put it on top of the payphone, and I just don't remember.
Yeah,
I apologize.
That's okay.
I wish I knew. I can't remember.
Well, it's nice when you guys get stumped a little bit too. It shows that you're a human, right?
It really came out of a like, oh my God, where did his watch go? How should we get rid of this? And we didn't need to make a big deal about it like we did, but that's just the way it came down. That's
got to be tough in itself, just making sure everyone's got, like you said, the continuity from show to show, from season to season. And sometimes it's something that's going to appear way far, in the way. But one last question I had for you, I know it's very trivial as well too, but we're used to seeing these characters on the screen all the time, and some of these classic, I shouldn't say classic, but iconic cars become symbols. Like Walter's Aztec, Pontiac Aztec. You've got Jimmy's Suzuki Esteem. That thing was just like metal shavings holding on to hands. Mike's Chrysler Fifth Avenue. when those cars are departed, does that ever become kind of oh man, I kind of miss that? And were there ever any doubles? Like Dukes of Hazzard had a couple of General Lees and things like that. Did you ever have duplicates in any of those cars?
Oh, we absolutely had doubles. Yeah, especially when the Aztec, not the Aztec, when the Esteem went in the ditch.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple of Esteems, a couple of Aztecs. Mike's got a bunch of cars. Yeah, we try to have backups just in case something goes wrong, or we want to do a stunt with it and just need a There's always multiples. We always, with the costume department, always try to have multiples for everything in case of emergency.
Right. Well, it's good to know. Well, we're at the 10 o'clock hour here, at least in Eastern Standard Time. It would be 7 o'clock, I guess, your time. I want to thank you so very, very much for your time this evening. It was nice to get a little look inside your world and meet part of your family, which is nice as well,
Thank
too.
you.
And
yeah, it went by fast.
I told you it would. I will extend an invitation to you. Maybe we'll reach out to you again. I mean, we're going to keep in touch a lot anyways, but maybe towards the latter half of 2020, we'll maybe touch base come winter, and we'll see where you are with, I know by that time there'll be some substantial stuff on paper, and we'll kind of get a recap if you'd like to come back. We'll talk some more music and all kinds of, we'll let the fans run the show that episode.
Yeah, I would love to. I thought we were going to talk more about guitars when I was here.
I know.
Glad to talk about the show.
That's right. No, we'll work some more music into it as well too. We'll do 50% music and 50% show next time.
Hey, come here. You want to be on camera? Come on. Your grandma. Here's Teddy. His grandma's watching back east.
You got a great family. I hope you have a fantastic Independence Day weekend with them.
Thank you so much. It's been awesome.
I'm going to say goodbye to you off the air. Don't take off. We'll say goodbye off the air. Everyone, thank you so very, very much for tuning in. This has been a great pleasure. And also, same time next week, we're going to continue on the Breaking Bad universe. And we have, next week is a doubleheader of Pete's. We have Skinny Pete, actor Charles Baker, and a very accomplished musician, same time, Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And then over on our Helix Hour show, we have world-renowned guitarist Pete Thorne on the show. But this Sunday as well, too, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, we have Ron Bumblefoot Thal on the show. So come and watch that as well. Everyone have a safe and a fantastic weekend, and watch for more updates. We'll have Thomas back on the show in some coming months, and we'll go from there. And Tom, we'll talk to you. We'll say goodbye to you out there. Everyone, have a great weekend. Cheers.
Hey, you're still here? Eric Jr. here, reminding you to check out our full lineup of quality merch. Available right now in the Broadstash Boutique. Quality products and fast shipping. Visit broadstash.com today.
Video production services for Rock Shop Live are provided by Design 39 Media. Visit design39media.com for all your website, photography, and video production needs. Microphones for Rock Shop Live are provided by Rode Microphones.